Hello, friends, family, and other creatures of the sea. My name is Jason Beckerdam. I'm a solutions engineer, and today we're going to be looking at a series called Tableau Next Extensions for Industry, where we look at how Tableau Next Extensions can help across a variety of industries like banking, insurance, and wealth, and even more. Today's industry is banking, and we're going to be looking at this dashboard right here specifically for a RVP who wants to look across a branch network and get some actionable insights. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's keep in mind as we look at this example dashboard that it is really a mock scenario that my colleague Jeff and I came up with. But if you think about retail banking analysis in a different way, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. With that though, let's think about as an RVP, I log into here and I'm used to actually looking at a ton of different reports in order to get that real 360 of my branch sales performance. I'm used to also looking at Excels and having to ask other people to validate those assumptions. Well, if I look at this, we're actually seeing that AI has actually drawn some conclusions for us, and based off of those conclusions actually created some actionable insights. Let's think about this. On the left hand side of my screen, I can see some insights here, and each one of them is accompanied by an escalation button, a share best practice button, right? These are really just a schedule review button. These are really just buttons that an RVP would like to have at their fingertips after they've drawn some type of conclusion from the data. And we're actually helping them in two ways. We're using AI to help them draw that initial conclusion, and then we're offering buttons as actions that they can take based off of that. For example, schedule review really just launches this screen flow that enables me to get to that review. I can say when it is and what the agenda notes are, right? Confirm, schedule meeting, and now I can continue looking for more insights here. Now, additionally, if I look at all the branches in my branch network, I might see that Denver 16th Street isn't doing so well as it relates to attainment and conversion, right? I might want to learn more about that, or I might want to be able to do some type of action off of that. Well, when I select this in the table, you see this is a really nice UI that I came up with for extensions, right? I have an analyze button, I have a create case button, schedule coaching, action plan, branch report. Speaking of branch report, this is a very simplistic example of a branch report that I can now draw specifically from this table. I could export it if I want to as well. Right? All things that are possible, all things that are customizable thanks to these Tableau Next extensions. Let's think about Analyze. So Analyze is something that is near and dear to my heart. I used to be an analyst, and being able to just grab all the different data points from our Tableau semantic data model and actually draw actionable conclusions from this is so amazing, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So this analyze button actually wrote a prompt into my agent, and it's creating a very structured outcome, a very structured finding with key findings, recommended actions, visualizations, the ability to create a case, or if I want, let's do create report, right? I now have a custom report that has been created based off of this question where I can get all that info that I saw before and maybe export that as well. However, something you might not have noticed when we selected Analyze is these next best actions are now being refreshed as well based off of that branch, right? So if I'm trying to think about, hey, this branch is slipping in performance and attainment, and I want to understand why. Well, this thing is going to call it out for us. That's amazing, right? Insufficient meeting volume. It's crippling Denver sales pipeline and attainment, right? Brutal, right? I might want to launch an escalation on this to say, hey, we need to generate a lot more meeting pipeline for our bankers, right, at this branch. Well, I can also see that conversion is a big issue. Maybe I want to action that as well. So let's think about actioning again. As a reminder, Tableau Next is actually on the Salesforce platform, so we can integrate Salesforce into the mix as well, right? So if we think about, I'm going to use Agentforce now to create a case. Please, urgent help with conversion, right? When I write that prompt and enter it, Agentforce now is going to be able to fill in these required fields for me, and then I can decide, right, exactly what that is afterwards, or I can modify what that is if I need to. And I can simply create a case directly in Salesforce. So this is really the beauty of the platform, is I can now pass that logic on to Salesforce that can lead to a ton of different workflows, right? Workflows is really one of Salesforce's biggest advantages, is it has a really great workflow engine. And I'm now passing that off from Tableau inside of Salesforce, right? Which I can really appreciate. Now, I'm just going to show a couple more goodies and then we're going to conclude this dashboard. But let's say I wanted to see a data table. This is something that is a requirement, right, for a BI tool. This data table is very comprehensive and the formatting is custom specifically to what that branch or RVP of a branch network really wants to see. And it includes those actions again, right? So if they prefer to just have a regular spreadsheet like this, but you're making that spreadsheet actionable, now we can do that from here as well. And we can hit up that analyze button if we want to as well. I won't do that because we've already seen it. Now, as a reminder, this Tableau Next extension would not be possible without modeling data and ensuring trusted data behind the scenes. So I'm going to cover this in 10 seconds. When you think about being able to import your data from all, your SQL warehouses like Databricks, Snowflake, Redshift, Google, you name it, it can all be fed into a semantic model right here that is specific to this Tableau Next platform, including Salesforce data, of course. But this is where we can now generate all the logic behind those business metrics, right? So if we thought about sales amount, we have a metric for that, and we have a description for that that AI can read, right? I love that so much right here. This semantic model, we're not going to cover a video on this today, but really this semantic model is what is the magic behind the scenes that enables us to get those trusted answers and really provide a custom solution, in this case, using Tableau Next extensions. And with that, thank you so much. On to the next one. I want to thank everyone for being here and staying till the end. Appreciate you. Take care.